Welcome to part 2 of CHL Imperialism. If you haven't seen part 1, link is in the description. Now let's dive in 3, 2, 1. For the first spin in part 2 of CHL Imperialism, the team will be the Ottawa 67s. And they will be headed to their southwest. And now I'll put the 67s in a matchup against the London Knights. Dickinson with it for London. He'll accelerate down the right side into the slot. His shot stopped there. Rebound by Cohen. And he scores. And the London Knights strike first. And they're up 1-0 against Ottawa. Crane now in the slot for Julian. And now find to the point Edward. Back for Crane. A shot and he scores. And the Knights will take a 2-0 lead here in the second period, thanks to Brody Crane. And now picked up by Cohen, who scored the first goal for London. Winterton now. He'll skate it out. Down the left side. Winterton in the slot. And a backdoor pass and they score. It's Barkey. And the Knights now lead 3-0. He got hit there. Edward tied up by Dean. He'll try to kick it out. Stonehouse for Zach Dean. And he scores. It's Zach Dean. Ottawa trying to have one final push. London looking to hang on to their lead. Here is McKinnon. Tied up in the corner. Clock ticking down. Here's McKinnon. And that will do it. The London Knights with a 3-1 victory over the Ottawa 67s. And they are moving on. And Pavel Mintyukov is now a member of the London Knights. And the Knights will take over the 67s land. Alright, our next team on the wheel will be the Arcady Bathurst Titan of the QMJHL. And they will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Cape Breton Eagles. Allison skating down the side. He got hit there. Allisonson. There's a shot in front, and they score! It's Andrews. And the Titans strike first against the Eagles. And right now, Andrews with the goal scorer for Arcady Bathurst. Here's Henderson with the puck. And here's a shot, and they score! Antoine Roy levels the game here in the third period. Schmidt with it for the Eagles. Down the other way. His pass intercepted by Arsenal. And now Arsenal with it. Lost it. And we are headed to overtime in Cape Breton. A 1-1 game. Here's an opportunity for the Titan. Here's Allison. And his shot. Satney with a huge save to rob the Titan of the victory. Here's Gavois for Hebert. Hebert now down the left side. He has some time. Hebert shoots. And he scores. And the Cape Breton Eagles will defeat the Titan in overtime. And they are moving on in Imperialism. And the Eagles will add Robert Orr to their lineup. And the Titan will be erased from the map. Alright, our next team on the wheel will be the Vancouver Giants of the WHL. And the Giants will be headed to their southeast. And that is a matchup against the Kelowna Rockets. And now Thorpe with it for Leslie. And now here's Honzik. He gets his own. Here's a pass for Thorpe. And he scores. And the Giants strike first here in the second period. A huge goal by Ty Thorpe. And the Giants will take a 1-0 lead. Looking to break it out. He'll find Ty Thorpe, the goal scorer for Vancouver. Thorpe lost the puck to Babcock. He regains possession. And he scores. It's Ty Thorpe once again. It's his second of the game. And this time on the power play. Vancouver with a 2-0 lead over Kelowna. Some great opportunities here for the Rockets late in the third period. They have 3:19 remaining, and they are down 2. We'll see if they can score here. Sturk wins the faceoff. Here's Price. That shot didn't go. And a rebound. They score. It's Dirk. And the Rockets bring the deficit to 1. Gronick and Johnson on a draw. Won by Gronick. Here's Pentecost with it for Vancouver. The Rockets need the forecheck. That pass almost intercepted. Bruce with it for the empty net. Never got a shot off. Pesky now with it. Final seconds ticking off. Here's Dirk with the puck. His shot stopped by Vickman. And now McMillan in the corner. He's tied up. Final shot. And it's over. The Vancouver Giants will win this one 2-1 on the road. And they are moving on in CHL Imperialism. And the Giants will add Pavel Novak to their roster. And will control all of Kelowna's land. Alright, so the Rockets are off the wheel, and our next team will be the Barrie Colts, almost the Giants again. And Barrie will be headed to their southeast. And that arrow passes through Oshawa's territory. Still looking for our first goal of the game. Here is Roadbrook. And now there's a shot and they score! Roll-offs put in! And the Generals strike first late in the second period. And now Joe Doyne with it for Barrie. He gets hit hard there, and now Buckley with it. Deep. He's pressured there. Lost the puck. Rebound and they score! It's Grisolia. And the Colts will tie this game at 1. 20 seconds remaining in the third and final period. Dickinson's pass intercepted by Senek. And now roll-offs hit hard there by Brant Clark. Cardwell now in his own zone. 10 seconds remaining. Here is Hache. He'll find York down the left side. York with time. And now behind the net, here's Dickinson. Final seconds. And that will do it. We are headed to overtime in Oshawa, Ontario. 13 seconds remaining in overtime. We'll see if the Colts can score here. We'll be headed to shootout. Demoto with it. He'll find Buckley. A one-on-one. Buckley got around Punnett. A chance to win. And that shot missed in it. Veerling for Punnett. And we are headed to a shootout. It has been a wild game thus far. Evan Veerling will shoot first for the Colts. He'll walk in. Veerling down the right side. And a backhand stop by Oster. First shooter for Oshawa is Butler. See what he can do here. Here comes Butler. And he scores! Punnett now to shoot for the Colts. See if he can tie it up here. His shot stopped by Oster. And now roll-offs can win it here for Oshawa. He just needs to score. Roll-offs. Backhand stop by Thornton. Now it all comes down to Cardwell. If he misses, it's over. If he scores, we keep playing. And Oster with a save. And the Generals will defeat the Barrie Colts on home ice. And they are moving on in Imperialism. And the Generals will add Brant Clark to their roster. And will take all of the Colts' hard-fought territory. Alright, our next team on the wheel will be the Kitchener Rangers, who have already played 3 games. And the Rangers will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Hamilton Bulldogs. Here's Shirk with some time. And shot. And they score. It goes in. Brown with a tip. And the Bulldogs strike first. And he's pressured by Pinelli. Lost the puck. Here's Moore now for Othman in a slot. Now Pinelli with the puck. And he scores. A little dangle there by Francesco Pinelli. And the Rangers will tie this game at 1. Here is Grushnikov at the point. A shot. Costantini with a save. And now Moore tied up. Cole Brown with it. Here's Grushnikov. His shot, and he scores! It's a power play goal for the Bulldogs, and they regain the lead. The net is empty. We'll see if the Bulldogs can hang on to the lead, or if the Rangers will tie it. Face-up one here by the Bulldogs. Here's Van Vliet. Lost the puck. Petrov with it, and Drobak will freeze it with 14 seconds remaining. Here's our Curry for Petrov. Now Allen at the point. Allen. Here's our Curry for Zlikin. For Hamar at the point, that shot Drobak with a save, and he'll freeze it with 4 seconds remaining. Potentially the final face-off in this one. Can the Rangers score here? Rekha wins the face-off. Here's Allen for Pinelli, and they score! Francesco Pinelli with 2.5 seconds remaining ties the game at 2, and we are most likely headed to overtime. The Rangers waiting for the final seconds to tie this one up. Bauer won the faceoff. Here is Okatandu. And we are headed to overtime in Hamilton. Hunter Brustowicz with 25 seconds remaining. Here is Pinelli with the puck. And that shot was blocked by Gil Shane. And now here come the Bulldogs the other way. Gil Shane. Allen with a big hit there. And now here's Roberts at the point. He shoots. And Costantini smothers it. And now Pinelli the other way. 8 seconds remaining. Will the Rangers score here? Is Pinelli. His shot and Drobak with a glove save there. With 3 seconds remaining in overtime. Potentially the final face-off of the game. Rekha versus Nelson. Won by Nelson. Now here's Moore. And we are headed to the second straight shootout in this video. Francesco Pinelli will shoot first in the shootout with 2 goals. Tonight we'll see if he scores here. Pinelli, and stopped there by Drobak. The second shooter will be Panwar for Hamilton. Here comes Panwar. Walks in and he scores! There on Costantini. Francesco Arcuri now to shoot for the Rangers. Here's Arcuri. Walks in and he scores! A big goal there for the Rangers, and they tie it up. Here comes Lardis now for Hamilton. Can he extend the lead? He will not. Costantini with a big stick save there. And now there's Danny Zlikin for the Rangers. Down the right side, Zlikin scores! There, and the Rangers now with the lead. This has been a wild game. It is now up to Thomas. Will he extend it, or will this be over? And Costantini with a stop, and the Rangers will win this one in a shootout, 3-2. What a roller coaster of a game, and it is over. And Artem Grushnikov is now a member of the Kitchener Rangers. And the Rangers will continue their epic run in CHL Imperialism. Alright, 35 teams remaining on the wheel in CHL Imperialism. And our next team will be the Erie Otters. We'll see if they claim the veteran power-up. And the Otters will be headed to their east. And the Otters will claim New Jersey. Alright, so our next spin on the wheel, we will have the Kitchener Rangers once again. Okay. And the Rangers will be headed to their southeast. And that arrow does pass through Mississauga before it passes through the Knights territory. So the Steelheads and the Rangers will be our next game. And this is Kitchener's 5th game of CHL Imperialism. Larson for Kai Schwint. Schwint, he shoots and he scores! And the Steelheads take the lead with 4 minutes remaining in the third period. 20 seconds remaining. Here comes more for Kitchener. He'll find Matvey Petrov. And now Zlikin with it. He lost the puck to Kamiris. And now Mieser with it. And he'll find Zlikin. Zlikin, there's a shot. And it didn't go. Big Red with a big save. Less than 10 seconds to be. Zlikin for Arcuri. And they score! Francesco Arcuri with 7 seconds remaining. And the Rangers tie this one up. Francesco Pinelli scored the tie goal in the last game. And now it's Francesco Arcuri in this one. Here is Kamiris. His shot, Costantini, into the corner, and we are headed to overtime once again. It is a 1-1 game. Pinelli and Misa on a face-off in Mississauga, Ontario, and we are underway. Here is Sharp for the Steelheads. And now it's poked away by Pinelli. Here comes the captain, Francesco Pinelli, with a chance to win, and he scores! And the Rangers will go 5-0 in CHL Imperialism as they defeat yet another team. A comeback win, and the Rangers are moving on. And James Hardy is now a member of the Kitchener Rangers. And the Rangers will take over the Steelheads territory as this is their 5th win in Imperialism. Alright, our next team on the wheel will be the Swift Current Broncos, who have already defeated the Moose Jaw Warriors. And Swift Current will be headed to their southeast. And that arrow passes through North Dakota, so the Broncos will expand. Our next spin on the wheel, we will have the Sarnia Sting of the Ontario Hockey League. And they will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Kingston Frontenacs. And look to clear it. Not all the way down, but out of the zone. Now Budnik down the left side. He has some time. He'll find Thibodeau on the slide. His shot, and a score! Soto with a tip-in, and the Frontenacs will capitalize on the power play and take a 1-0 lead. Looking for options. He'll find Dylan Ginn. They score! Dillingham Morelli and a Sting tie this game at 1 late in the second period. Here's Richie. He'll find Philak. One last opportunity here on a man advantage. Philak. And look for Burke. That pass now connect. Now Burke with it. He'll find Philak and they score! And the Sting take the lead here as the power play comes to an end. Amstrom poked away there by Mast, and now Poole in the corner for McGowan. Now Roger at the point. His shot never got through, and now here comes Deb Albalaz on a breakaway, shorthanded, and he scores! a 2-goal lead. They make it 3-1. 53 seconds remaining here in regulation. Here's Maddox Callens, and there's a shot and they score! It's Ludwinski with 48 seconds left, and the Frontenacs cut the lead to 1. It is not over yet. Kingston has pulled their goalie. Frosca and Burke on the faceoff. One by Frosca. McGowan never got a shot off. And now here's Cairo with a puck for Sarnia. He'll find Voigt, exits the zone. And now here's Phillock for the empty net. And he scores! Face on the red pool. Here's McGowan. Roger now. Pressured there. So here's Phillock with the puck. And he scores! It'll be Zach Phillock with a hat trick. And it's now a 5-2 game with less than 5 seconds remaining in regulation. Final seconds ticking off here in Kingston, Ontario, and the Sting will win 5-2 on the road. And Podwinski is now a member of the Sarnia Sting. And the Frontenacs will be erased from the map. 33 teams remaining in CHL Imperialism, and our next team will be the Spokane Chiefs of the Western Hockey League. And the Chiefs will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Vancouver Giants. And now here's Gronick with the puck. Gross on him. Here's Bruce, a shot, and stopped there by Cohen. And now Novak back for Bruce, and they score! The Giants strike first with 2 minutes remaining in the first period, and it is a 1-0 game. And now McIsaac, he'll go cross ice for Lane. Lane down the right side. He'll find Goodell's, and they score! Goodell's ties the game at 1. It was a bouncing puck, and it beat Vickman, and the Chiefs have made it a 1-1 game. Onzik, spinorama. He'll find Thorpe in deep. To the point, Anderson. And now Haynes. He'll find Hanzik, and they score! It's Pavel Novak, and the Giants regain their lead and make it 2-1 against the Chiefs. He failed to dump it in. Now here comes McIsaac for Lane. And he got chipped up there. Now Wads with it. Now here's Chase Berthollet. Under 2 minutes. Here's Lane with the puck. And he scores! On a delayed penalty, the Chiefs capitalize. And they tie it at 2 with 1:34 remaining on the clock. Finds Haliburton. Shot stop there. Semeniuk now. Under 10 seconds remaining. Here is Streak for Spokane. He'll find Crampton. He'll circle back. In the final seconds here, Cheveldayoff will carry it out. And we are headed to overtime in Vancouver. Captain and Thorpe here on the faceoff. 5-minute overtime starts now. Thorpe wins the faceoff, and now here's Leslie in his own zone. Pressure there by Weinstein. Here's Weinstein with the puck. He'll find Berkeley. Captain shot. Rebound handled by the Giants in the corner. And Weinstein with the defensive play. Now he goes the other way. A 2-on-1. Weinstein for Captain, and he scores! Berkeley Captain wins it in overtime, and the Chiefs will defeat the Giants on the road and will move on in CHL Imperialism. And the Chiefs will add Samuel Hanzik to their roster and perform a large upset in Part 2 of CHL Imperialism. Okay, so the Giants are off the board, and our next team will be the Cataracts or Cougars. Those will be the Shawnigan Cataracts, and they will be headed to their east. And that is a matchup against the Chicoutimi Saguenayens. And now Rodzinski at the point. For Masse. Back for Rodzinski. His shot never got through. And now there's Vermont. His pass for Masse. And they score! An early goal by the Saguenayens. And they take the 1-0 lead. And then gets hit there by Menard. And then there's a big hit there by Leroux. And now Ganica for Heward. Final seconds of the period. Here's Lacerda shot. And he scores! With 0.8 of a second remaining, Lacerda ties the game at 1. And will open the second period with a 1-1 game. What a shot there by Lacerda. And that will complete the first period. He couldn't get the puck out of the zone. Joey Matthew now with it. Here's Masse. His shot stopped there. And he put it in the net. It'll be Maxime Masse with his second goal of the game. And the Saguenayens regain the lead. And now, a huge neutral zone face-off. The Cataracts need to win. Face-off won by Shawnigan. Here is Booth. A stretch pass intercepted by Usero. Usero with the puck. Canonico with a good play. Now Turini. Under 10 seconds remaining. Lacerda for Shonigan. They are pulling the goalie. And in front, Uraso with a good defensive play. And now Carrier with it. In his own corner, he'll find Usero. And that will do it. The Saguenay's will defeat the Cataracts on home ice 2-1. And they will be moving on in CHL Imperialism. And the Saguenay's will add Lorenzo Canonica to their roster. And the Saguenay's will take over all of Shawnigan's land. 31 teams remaining in Imperialism. And our next team will be the Prince Albert Raiders. And the Raiders will be headed to their east. And that is a matchup against the Brandon Wheat Kings. Cross pass for Herman. Here comes Herman now. Herman in the slot. His shot and he scores! The Raiders capitalize first. It will be Herman. Under 7.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Here is Anderson with the puck and he scores! Carter Anderson makes it 2-0 and the Raiders extend their lead. And now Pacala for Goldsmith at the point. Now Shell's Bobby Pasternak. Pacala and there's Carter Anderson and he scores! It will be Anderson's second of the game. And the Raiders now with a 3-0 lead over the Wheat Kings. See if the Raiders can capitalize one more time in this one. They win the faceoff. Here's Christensen for Dubé and they score. And just like that, it is now a 4-0 game as they capitalize on the 5-on-3. And that will do it. The Raiders with a 4-0 win over the Wheat Kings, and they are moving on. And the Raiders will add the newest Red Wings prospect, Nate Danielson, to their lineup. We are now down to 30 teams in CHL Imperialism. Alright, half of the CHL has been eliminated, and our next team will be the Seattle Thunderbirds. And Seattle will be headed to their southwest. And that is a matchup against the TriCity Americans. Only 5 minutes remaining here in the first period. Here is Peters. He got hit there, and now Lambert with the puck. Lambert for Ginther, and they score! Dylan Ginther opens the scoring here with 4:05 remaining in the first period. And Seattle takes a 1-goal lead. Bell pursued by Siona. Here's Sloan in the slot. Bell now, and they score! And the Americans tie it up thanks to Bell. It is now a 1-1 game. And now Greenway finds Machura. Adam Machura. Here's Lupin. And now on the good defensive play. And now Berezowski the other way. Delay penalty against the Americans. Berezowski. He scores! Jake Berezowski on the delay penalty. And the Thunderbirds regain the lead. Here is Allen with the puck. He'll find Gustafson. And now Srenkovic for Gustafson. And they score! Just like that, the Thunderbirds add to their lead. And it is now a 3-1 game. In the slot, and backhand shot, missed the net. And now Korchinski with it. Pressured there in deep. And now Dylan Ginther with it. Guarded by Jarosevich, and they score. Dylan Ginther, second of the game. And it's now a 4-1 game in favor of Seattle. And that will most likely close out this one in Kennewick, Washington. 7 seconds remaining here in the game. Here's Chaz Lucius. Finds Belton, and he scores. 3.7 seconds remaining on the clock. And it's now a 4-2 game. And here's McMillan, and that will do it. The Seattle Thunderbirds will defeat the Americans 4-2 and will move on in CHL Imperialism. And the Thunderbirds will add Chaz Lucius to their roster and will take all of the Americans' territory. Alright, 29 teams remaining in Imperialism, and our next team will be the Flint Firebirds. And the Firebirds will be headed to their west. And the Firebirds will claim Illinois. Alright, our next spin, we will have the Kamloops Blazers. And the Blazers will be headed directly north. And that is a matchup against the Prince George Cougars. And now here's Betcher. Lost the puck to Hofer. Hofer for Brandwood. And now Kleffler in a slot and deep, and they score! It's Hofer. And the Blazers will take a 1-0 lead over the Cougars. Won by Minton. Here is Masters. Now Demek with it for Kamloops. He'll find Levis. And then go rebound. They score. It'll be Fraser Minton. And the Blazers extend their lead. It is now a 2-0 hockey game. The Cougars have pulled their goalie. 1:04 remaining in the third period. And they are down 2. Faceoff won by Kamloops. Here is Bruinick. And now Wheatcroft the other way. He'll find Weeb. A chance here for the Cougars. Here's Wheatcroft. And they score. It's Heights with 35 seconds remaining. And the Cougars bring the deficit to 1. He'll skate down neutral zone. He'll enter the side. His shot, stop, rebound, and they score! It's Betcher with 17 seconds remaining. And the Cougars tie this game at 2. And now here is Barrows with a buck. Final seconds. And that will do it. We are headed to overtime. It is a 2-2 game in Prince George, British Columbia. 15 seconds remaining here in overtime. Potentially one last rush here for Prince George. Here is Kamek. Skates toward the right side. He finds Wheatcroft, and they score! A comeback win for the Cougars. 3 straight goals, and Wheatcroft wins it in overtime. And the Cougars will add Logan Stankoven to their lineup. And to easily differentiate between the territories, the Cougars will now have this color on the map. And our next team will be Broncos or Pats. This will be the Swift Current Broncos. And they will be headed to their southwest. And the Broncos will add Montana. Our next team on the wheel will be the Halifax Mooseheads. And the Mooseheads will be headed to their southwest. And the Mooseheads will add Massachusetts. 2 expansions in a row. And our next team will be the Flint Firebirds once again. And they will be headed to their west. And the Firebirds will add Wisconsin to their territory. Will we see a game here? Our next team will be the Swift Current Broncos. And the Broncos will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Regina Pats. 11 seconds remaining in the third period. Here is Vazil with the puck. A pass for Connor Bedard. Bedard for Howe. 5 seconds remaining. Howe for Bedard. His shot gloved by Dyke. Braden Yager against Connor Bedard here. Won by Yager. And that will do it for regulation. We are headed to overtime with the score still 0-0. Ward and Bedard will take the face-off here. The Broncos played the Warriors in overtime and they were able to win. We'll see if they can do it here against Regina. Here is Bateman. And Ward steals the puck. He's on a breakaway. Ward, he scores! Matthew Ward wins it in overtime off a mistake. And the Broncos will defeat the Pats and will move on. And Connor Bedard will join forces with the Swift Current Broncos. And the Pats will be erased from the CHL Imperialism map. 27 teams remain in Imperialism, and our next team will be the Victoriaville Tigers. And the Tigers will be headed to their northeast. And that is a matchup against the Chicoutimi Saguenayens. There's Bellegarde for Pellerin. And his shot never got through. And they score! A mistake there, and Pellerin puts the Tigers on the board. It is a 1-0 game here early in the first period. A mistake by Maxime Massé, and the Tigers are in the lead. The point for Rodzinski. Rodzinski shoots and stopped there. Rebound, Vermont scores! And the Saguenays tied this game at 1 thanks to Vermont. Goal, here's Cormier, and they find Bellegarde, and Laval stretched his pad out, and then Waugh scores! And the Tigers regain their lead here in the third period, and it is now a 2-1 game. Waugh go down the right side, he has options, he finds Moore in front, Gravel shoots, and he scores! And the Saguenays tie this game at 2 quickly after the Tigers scored. 5 minutes remaining in the third and final period. Prishapov down the right side. Centers off for Grunov, and they score! The Tigers with a 3-2 lead, thanks to Yegor Goronov. Final opportunity for the Saguenayens. Morin and Prishapov will be won by Prishapov, and now here's Minville. He'll clear it, and that will do it. The Victoriaville Tigers will defeat the Saguenayens, and they will move on in CHL Imperialism. And the Tigers will add Lorenzo Cananica to their roster. And the Saguenayens will be erased from the map. 26 teams remaining in CHL Imperialism. And our next team will be the Eagles. And they will be headed to their southwest. And that puts them in a matchup against the Halifax Mooseheads. 2.5 minutes remaining here. Squires with it, and now it's poked away. Henderson, and now Shotman wide. Wow, shot, and they score! Deflection, and the Eagles strike first, and they're on the board. Burns now finds McKinnon. Here comes Boucher. An opportunity here for the Mooseheads. Boucher got around, and there's a shot, and they score! score! It's the Maze and the Mooseheads tie this game at 1. 15 seconds remaining in the final period. Here is Boucher with the puck. He crosses over Demaze, and he scores! Jordan Demaze, second of the game, and he'll strike on the power play with 10 seconds remaining. Controlled here by the Mooseheads. Here's McKinnon. Final seconds remaining. He missed the empty net. It won't matter. The Halifax Mooseheads with a comeback win over the Eagles, and they are now 3-0 in CHL Imperialism. And the Mooseheads will add Ivan to their roster and will expand their empire. 25 teams remaining, and our next team will be the London Knights. And the Knights will be headed to their east, and the Knights will claim the state of New York. Our next team on the wheel will be the Lethbridge Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes will be headed to their southeast, and that is a matchup against the Swift Current Broncos. And now Shepard for the Hurricanes. Shepard in deep in the corner. He'll find Swetlikov, back for Shepard, and they score. The Hurricanes strike first on a beautiful feed from Swetlikov, and it is a 1-0 game. Circles back, and now here's Bedard. And now here's Laventure with it for the Hurricanes. Laventure down the left side. He'll find Jet Jones. He shot, and he scores! Jet Jones makes it 2-0 Hurricanes. The Broncos, here is Philmon for Bedard, and he scores! It's Connor Bedard, and the Broncos strike back. And now it's a 1-goal game. Gaswell, he got hit hard there, and the Marquez for Wormold. In front for Edwards, and he scores! The Hurricanes make it a 3-1 game. 25 seconds remaining. The Broncos pull the goal. Here's Braden Yager. Got hit there, and now Shepard with it. He'll find Astashevich. And here's Swetlikov for the empty net, and he scores! Blake Swetlikov will seal the deal here in Swift Current, and he'll make it 4-1. And Connor Bedard is now a member of the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And the Broncos will be erased from the map. And our next team will be the Prince Albert Raiders. And the Raiders will be headed to their west. And that is a matchup against the Edmonton Oil Kings. This will be won by Crocker. Here's Crocker in the slot, and he scores! And the Raiders will take a 1-0 lead against the Oil Kings. He'll find Finney, and a shot stopped there by Chaika. And now Blake will tie it up. Final seconds remaining here. Nate Danielson with the puck, trying to exit the zone. And that will do it. The Prince Albert Raiders will defeat the Edmonton Oil Kings 1-0 and will move on in CHL Imperialism. And the Raiders will add Ben King to their roster. And the Oil Kings will be erased from the map. Okay, so the Oil Kings removed from the wheel, and our next team will be the Sherbrooke Phoenix. And the Phoenix will be headed to their northeast. And that arrow will pass through the Oceanic territory. And now in the corner, here's Joshua Waugh, walks in! And now here, puck is loose, Waugh in the slot, to the point for spot check, and now Mellinson with it. Mellinson, now enough for Giller, and Mellinson stays with it, and he scores! The Phoenix take a 1-0 lead here in the third period against the Oceanic, thanks to Jacob Mellinson. And he'll clear it all the way down. 50 seconds remaining now for the Oceanic. They need to score. Here's Coogan. He'll find Springer. And now Beland. He shot and he scores! The Oceanic tied on the power play with 42 seconds remaining. He got hit there. Puck will go into the corner. And we are headed to overtime in Rimouski, Quebec. 10 seconds remaining in overtime. Here's Gaggio. Got hit. Gill for Gauthier. 5 seconds remaining. Gauthier in the right side. And he scores! The Oceanic will defeat the Phoenix in overtime. And they will move on. And Rimouski will add Joshua Waugh to their lineup. And the Phoenix will be erased from the map. 2 more games in part 2. And our next team will be the Oceanic again. And Rimouski will be headed to their southeast. And that will be a matchup against the Moncton Wildcats. He'll find Baudouin. Baudouin right side, and he scores! And the Wildcats will strike first and will take an early 1-0 lead. Here's Jansprino now for the Oceanic. He'll find Verol, and here's Gaggio, and he scores just like that. A quick answer, and the Oceanic tie this at 1. Matthew, stretch pass for Joshua Waugh on a breakaway, and he scores. Joshua Waugh gives the Oceanic a 1-goal lead. And now here's Joshua Waugh with 20 seconds remaining. Waugh for Matthew, and now here's Filion for the empty net. Was blocked there, and now Matthew for the empty net, and he scores. And the Oceanic will take a 3-1 lead over the Wildcats. And this will seal the deal in Moncton. And the Oceanic will add Etienne Morin to the roster. And the Wildcats will be erased from the map. One more game remaining in Part 2. And our next team will be the Winnipeg Ice. And the Ice will be headed to their southeast. And that is a matchup against the Oshawa Generals. Swore down the right side, looking for options. Behind that finds Savoie, and never got a shot at. Now Sword with it in the slot. Sword shoots and he scores. Graham Sword opens the scoring, and the Ice will take a 1-0 lead. Face up one by Osipchuk. Here's Cumby. There's Nash at one-timer, and now a rebound blocked. Nash one more time, and he scores. The Ice strike on the power play, and they'll make it a 2-0 hockey game. Down the left side, looking for options. And down low for Buckley, and now there's Petro, and rebound, he scores! The Generals will strike, and now it is a 1-goal game. Oshawa pulling their goalie. Here is Petro. He lost it to Cumby. Now Cumby tied up. Ostapchuk with it. 5 seconds remaining. Zach Ostapchuk for the empty net. That was blocked by Stewart, and the Winnipeg Ice will win this game and move on to Part 3 of CHL Imperialism. But first, the Ice will add Brant Clark and continue their expansion into the Ontario Hockey League. 40 teams have been eliminated and 20 teams remain. Stay tuned for Part 3. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.